man, lights. Okay. Oops, sorry. All right. So, for those of y'all who don't know, first off, let me start by saying I give all I have till the war is done. I give all I have till the war is done. I will not lose. This is Her Shine On Dr. Life. Her Shine On Dr. Life. The intro that you just saw, my mother Beverly Webb passed away in 2010. And I was inspired by the life that she lived and who she was and what she gave all of us, to go to my family and film. Someone just told me to document the moment. And it was one of the best things that I could have ever done. Because my youngest son was born 2 years after my mom passed away. And he has my namesake. So there is a Damon Leggett that never, ever, ever got to experience Beverly Webb. And then my brother's son, my nephew, was born 2 years ago. I call him King Paul II. And King Paul II never got to experience his grandmother either. So we're full circle now, because 27 summers ago, my wife and I got married 27 summers ago. And my mom gave me something when I was the same age that King Paul II is. My mom and my father left Trenton and went to a historically black university in Huntsville, Alabama in 1976 when I was 2 years old. So King Paul is 2 years old. And my daughter Destiny and my oldest son Xavier are headed to that same university. Destiny graduates this year and is headed to Oakwood University, along with her older brother. So symbolically, not symbolically, I was divinely inspired to label this year as a Back to the Future. Back to the Future. I was divinely inspired to assign to each child. My son Damon is going to be 9 this year. And when my mom and dad went down to that university after they finished their master's, they came back. And in 1983, we moved back from Michigan to Trenton. I was 9 years old. So for King Paul II, this throwback to the future year for King Paul II is 1976. The throwback to the future year for Damon Jr. We call him Just You Run. It's 1983. Now, what's significant about 1983? 2 years later, my mother and father divorced. Our family unraveled and came apart. And for the first time, I felt different. For the first time, I felt lost. Family, couples, and children from the earliest of time, because of how my mother was training me. One of the very first things my mother showed me was my god brother, Mathel Hunter, a picture of my mom, my Aunt Julie, getting married together on the same day. And my dad is in the picture, and of course, Uncle Billy Hunter is in the picture. And my mom took that picture to let me know, listen, this is not just my sister. We got married on the same day, and her children are my children. My children are her children. That's my godson. And if anything happens to her, I'm going to make sure they good. So all your life, you better make sure that these kids is good. So you can just imagine when that marriage came apart 2 years after us getting back to Trenton. So if my son is 1983, I told you we 27 summers in. In 1985, I started praying a prayer. My mom had given me a football league in Michigan. My mom had given me a football league. And when I got home, I excelled because she had started me already down there. Well, we were Seventh-day Adventists, and they played on Saturday. So my mom went out and recruited and put together a league. They would come to our house. We had a big field next to our house. They would come to our house every Sunday. They would break us up in teams. I got to play. Every time they would play on Saturdays, they knew they was coming to my crib on Sunday, and we was playing a whole nother round. But in 85, I started praying for a family. The league wasn't going to the NFL, and going to the NBA wasn't my top priority. My top priority was to be able to break the cycle and successfully teach my children what my mom taught me without the obstacle of the family coming apart. And so now that we full circle, and we coming back, we coming around the bend, the same time frames of little Damon coming to 85. So now little Damon, we put together the same leagues for little Damon down in Orlando, Florida. Not just in Orlando, Florida. We've been blessed. My wife and I, we've been blessed. All across the country, we have teams that we played on. Pine Forge Falcons, Oakwood Ambassadors. In Chicago, Illinois, I played for a university called Triton. Then when I was at Triton, we started an community outreach organization, and I recruited some young high school shorties to keep them off the streets. And they were our little angels, Maywood angels, and the Flames. I coached my wife's team, the Thunder. We was in a pro-am style volleyball league together, co-ed. Played on that team, my wife and I. The Thunder, the Angels, Triton, volleyball squad. Come down to Orlando, Florida, Mount Sinai, the Wildcats, and I start coaching. Got a whole nother group of young kids that's my kids' age now. Shout out to my Knights from Dundee Ridge Middle School, the Knights, Haines City High School, Hornets, the AAU squad Deja played on, the Yellow Jackets. We got teams all around the country, all across the world. We have teams. So now that little Damon and Destiny are coming around. There's a gentleman that started I don't know if it's a fitness movement, but there's a guy that started some movement called CrossFit. And they start this little CrossFit movement. And he has a nerve to say that they are the fittest people on earth. He had a nerve to let it come out of his mouth that his group is the fittest people on earth. Now, I could remember a time in the mid to late 1920s when a man named Adolf Hitler came to power. And prior to Adolf Hitler, in 1844, there were a bunch of Europeans running around talking about survival of the fittest. And since this is February 1st, Black History Month, for y'all, that's probably the problem. They look at black people and like, black people is obese, black people got high blood pressure, black people in the projects, black people is poor. That's the problem. Y'all let them identify you as black people. So they talk out of their neck. So obviously they've never laid eyes on queens like my mother and my wife. Obviously they have never laid eyes on. So to answer this challenge, and this is the challenge that Greece and Rome have been doing undercover. So we accept your challenge. We accept your survival of the fittest challenge. And I'm simply going to take you to my mom's playbook. And what I'm going to reveal is we're going to pull together all of our teams. And we're not just going to play one sport. We are going to compete and silence, for once and for all, we are taking up the challenge to take over control of all cash flow, in all recreation, in all fashion. And the underlying competition is fitness. Fitness. And the number one sport that they can't even compete in, and is the number one most lucrative sport, So now he's opened up a can for his brothers in the NFL and the NBA. Because what I'm going to show and prove is the model that my mom gave me way back in the 70s, long before there was a Dr. CB. All of my family can attest. The people who were on the dietary nutrition that extends life and creates renowned supernatural recreation, and the only people who will do it that way is us. Europeans won't compete without performance enhancing drugs. There's no European, there's no sport, and they're the ones who claim to be the fittest. And if you look at their sport where he claims that they're the fittest, it's called CrossFit. It's called CrossFit. And they have CrossFit games. So because my mom and my dad gave us the in the beginning fitness blueprint, we call it ITB, PRO-CREATORMADE Perfect Fit. The Lion King and King's Pride Games. The Lion King and King's Pride Games. And everybody else is just lying on the lion. You're a hyena lying on the lion, and we're going to prove it. But most importantly, we're going to take control of the cash flow. We're going to take control of the cash flow around nutrition. We're going to take control of the cash flow around the hospital systems. We're going to take control of the cash flow around broadcasting, around fashion, around fitness, around travel and vacation. You're not going to talk junk. You're not going to talk junk and then rig the game so make it look like you still win. So now, this is the last and final time Greece and Rome will challenge. Once again, this is the ITB PRO-CREATORMADE Perfect Fit Games. And you will watch us play. This is not open to the public. We're going to take ours. It's called the intranet. We're the webs. It's called, my mom's a web. It's called the intranet. Y'all are on the internet, meaning you need other people in order to do what you do. This is part of the proof. We don't need nobody else. We don't need no partners. We don't need no investors. We don't need nothing. We're just going to take your challenge. We're going to out hustle you. We're going to put more beautiful women into fashion, into modeling. We're going to do it all natural with no performance enhancing supplements, Ritalin and speed and steroids. To my family, let me give you a word. It's called peonage. Let me give you a word. It's called peonage. Slavery by another name, peonage. The peon age. Do you know what they're calling when you're calling you a peon? A slave. A peon is somebody who you pay less than what they're worth. Peon. The peon age. So they went from the chattel slave age to the peon age, convict leasing. And our grandmother, Evelyn Webb, because we did not have the vision to come together and control our own destiny. Our grandfather died in 1973, the year before I was born. I'm born 1974. 17 years our grandmother as a widow struggled to feed her children and her grandchildren, working for St. Francis. Do you know how much people will pay? Do you know how much people will pay once you learn that you're royal and you can take back your sovereign status and then can do the same for the other royal people who, unlike the Greeks and the Romans, are so filled with envy and jealousy that they have to make these false claims. And then when we come back and we prove, we say, okay, let's show and prove it. Winner take all. Loser exits. Period. Loser exits. Winner take all. Then it's time for diversity. Then it's time for integration. Then it's time for all men are created equal. Nah. No. This is the last great white flight. Last great black flight. Those terms don't mean anything to us, white or black. Nation, kindred, tongue, and people. That's where we come from. Every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. Lion, King, and King's Pride is nation, kindred, tongue, and people. In the beginning, Lion, King, and King's Pride games. So, "27 summers we've been doing this. It don't matter what city you in. Detroit, Chicago, 27 summers. All up and down the East Coast. Any city in the East Coast is ours. From all the way up to New York, from all the way down to Virginia. Keep going. We in Florida, all the way down in Florida, all the way down to the bottom. So, just to let y'all know, it's $12 trillion annually that he just put in jeopardy. It's a waste when you allow somebody else to control your destiny and you're better than them. It's a waste. So we call this a hate waste fast. Hate waste fast. All right. And in recreation, you got offense and defense. And when you're on defense and when you got a full court press on, full court press is when you allow no gaps between you and the person that you're guarding. But then when we say flame means we're also aggressively causing turnovers because we're taking possession. We are taking, but it's no better way to show that you are more dominant than to not only guard but aggressively take. This is what they have caused. We are aggressively going to cause turnovers, and once we get it, we're never giving it back. All right. So, to the CrossFit world, We accept your challenge. This is a $12 trillion industry, family, annually. $12 trillion annually. From endorsement deal, they got an endorsement deal with Reebok. They just challenged, they just woke up the lion, and now it's time to go hunt some hyenas. Now it's time to go take. Let's see fittest. All of you kings and queens who are doing it right. All of you beautiful kings and queens. To anybody that I've ever suited up with, to anybody that my wife and children have ever suited up with, y'all are the base and the bedrock that we're going to build these other teams off of. I'm going to use my family right here in Trenton, New Jersey. Why? When my mom gave me the team, I was 2 years old and I had an uncle named Butch Hackett. Running back extraordinaire. Was no internet, was no none of that. It was just my mom, who was a cheerleader. When we would cut football on Sunday, my mom would be the play-by-play. Tell me Uncle Butch's accomplishments at Hamilton High, at Fisk University, for the Eagles, for the Buffalo Bills. Play-by-play. So much so that when I would turn on the TV, Earl Campbell might have been on the TV, but all I saw was Uncle Butch. Walter Payton may have been handed the rock, but all I saw was Uncle Butch. From 2 to 6. So much so, 4-year-olds, they don't play tackle. I was in helmets, shoulder pads, everything. 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. And so what I'm saying to y'all is, just like the NFL started their European version, that's a European game. They trying to protect Tom Brady, and that's a European game. That ain't American rules football. That's soccer. That's soccer with pads. That's what the NFL is. Just like CrossFit can jump into the $12 trillion cash flow stream by creating their own standalone league and fitness. Okay, so can we. So to all of my family members, when it comes to economics, there's two economics, okay? There's microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics is, it says, you don't stop doing what it is you're doing. We use your microeconomics and then your kids and your whatever to connect the dots in the macro. The macro is what we do as a union. Our individual units. Some of y'all cut hair, some of y'all nurses or whatever. But when we get this league going, you'll have your side business, but you'll also have a major role in making sure that what it is you do on your day-to-day, you do to help launch the league and the enterprise, the macroeconomic. Macro means worldwide, means expansion. Micro is the individual day-to-day. And when you have both of those things, that's when you have wealth. And when you own on both levels, you do what you do in the micro, so that then we can hire you as the leading. It's just like with, okay, so when there's injuries on the team, right? They have a doctor that specializes in sports medicine. They have the lead doctor in whatever city or whatever. And so whenever they get the injury or whatever, they go to that doctor. He's not on call only for the team, but because he, in his microeconomic day-to-day practice, he is so phenomenal that they wouldn't consider using anybody else for the macro need that they have for the league. So this proposal, once again, and because it's more of us, listen, their $12 trillion is not even, it's not even 1,000 people. It's not even 1,000 people. It's only 32 football leagues, and similar to that in basketball. But basketball, they don't even have nowhere near as many people on the basketball teams as they have on the football teams. So we talking about 800 people in the United States alone that's generating $12 trillion. So what happens when we go into our community and we really, really, really get all of the people that play better than these cats in the league? We don't care nothing about them going to school. We don't care nothing about them playing a year in college. We don't care nothing about none of that. If we put you in a gym, can you slaughter LeBron? Lenny Cook from Atlantic City. Yes, all day, every day. Let's go, Lenny. And 10 to 20,000 of it's almost 400 million people in the United States of America. Do you know that we could erase poverty? We could erase poverty we're going to erase poverty around the world by just erasing poverty in the United States of America. If we took 50,000 people, 50,000 base salary, I mean just base to get on the nutrition regimen, and just to get, like, because we're competing on nutrition. They talk running their mouth. So if you're not interested in doing none of that, fine. Like I said, it's 400 million people here. I'm sure we can find 50,000 people who would, instead of being in poverty, want to give up eating and becoming a diabetic. I'm sure we can find 50,000 people. And when 50,000 people touch their first $1 million, our goal is to have 16 million people touch their first million in 2022. 16 million people. That's our goal. There's no better way to shut them up. There's no better way to get them to stop talking like they superior and we inferior. It's no better way than to show them. And if we just start with 50,000 and we transform 50,000 lives, the whole 16 million gonna come get it. Then what's gonna happen? All this fake narrative about crime and violence. It's only crime and violence because they want to keep weapons contracts going. They want to keep employing all of these police and all of these. They want to keep crime and violence in the neighborhoods so that they could keep their tax base up. But when there's wealth, when there is wealth and prosperity and luxury, automatically, that's the cure for crime. Just like a broken spirit. Do you know what the antidote for a broken spirit is? A merry heart. Do you know what what the antidote for depression is? A merry heart. It's simple. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bone and kill. What is killing you? What's killing you is these artificial hurting you into situations. You can't live here, you can't live there. They prejudice with this, barriers here, barriers there. You got to go do this. You got to go to college in order to play professional basketball and football. They don't do that to tennis players. That's racism that y'all let them get away with. Y'all celebrate Venus and Serena. Y'all celebrate Venus and Serena. Oh, Venus and Serena. You celebrate Venus and Serena. But they discriminated against all of us from the hood who play football and basketball. They said, yo, we got to go to college. They let them go and straight get money. As soon as they better than the other people in the world, they could get on tour. Like, that's discrimination, yo. And just because they are person of color, and just because y'all see them having success, y'all want to avoid the fact that they're discriminating against the whole to advance a sport that they're invested in. If tennis is whack and nobody's watching it, there's an ulterior motive on why they putting faces of color over there. If golf is whack, of course they're going to want Tiger Woods to boost ratings and every time they do it. But you know what? They don't have limits on what age they could go into the golf tour. You let them sit here in this country and talk junk when they got a system rigged against them. They get handouts. They get subsidies. They leagues get money to build. Listen, man, they tax the poorest people to build their stadium. And these cats run around here talking like it's mano a mano. So I'm saying to me and mine, we don't care what barriers they got. We coming to take everything they got. We're going to raise the bar on luxury. We're going to raise the bar on fashion. We're going to make Gucci and Polo like hand-me-downs. Yeah. That's the way, that's how you do it. When you control the price, you control the market. We define what luxury is now, since they want to talk. Once again, this is $12 trillion, y'all. This is $12 trillion that's up for grabs. Y'all just willing to go to work every day and then let y'all children go play for them for free and let them get $12 trillion? This is $12 trillion. Even you in nursing, even if you, whatever you in, we still need nurses to take care of our athletes. Except over here, you're going to get paid 4 times what you're getting paid now. It's time to compete, y'all. They always talking crazy. Okay, prove it. That's what this league is about. Prove it. And all we saying is our league is closed. Just like they've had society closed all of this time. It's not no integration. We're going to prove we better. We're going to prove we can put a better quality basketball. So all of these cities, if y'all on, we're going to prove that our hip-hop, everything, and all of them fake rap clowns that's willing to do whatever for Lawyer Cohen and Rick Rubin and all of these vultures, capitalists, predators, hyenas in the entertainment industry. These cats willing to go to jail. These cats willing to do anything to get a contract. They willing to put whatever out there about our daughters, our sons. Listen, all of y'all belong with them. And we're going to show y'all our music is better. We're going to show y'all our films are better. We're going to show y'all. We're going to go back to all of the stories that y'all lied about in history. And we're going to redo them with all us in the cast. And it's going to be better. We launching our own fashion lines, our own sneaker companies, and they're going to be better and more expensive and more luxurious. We have individuals who've been trying to get them to reinvest in how they gutted Detroit. Europeans didn't want to interact with people of color, and so they just killed the industries of the United States over racism and bigotry. And all we saying is, now we coming back and we're going to invest in those same cities and don't ever come back. Now what? See, they always tell this story, like in Africa, like with Zimbabwe. And like Zimbabwe of course, Africa's a third world country. We not Africa, homie. Walk out of our city if you want to. Yeah, I'm glad all of y'all left New York. Now we buying up New York. Don't ever come back. And then we're going to buy up Florida. So all my people, get your mind right. This is all things to all industries. Full court press. Real estate investment. Every industry is just on it. All right? Come back. I'm going to show it to you now.